Everyone keeps repeating the same comforting sentence like it's a lullaby for anxious adults. Malaysia is catching up to Japan. It sounds optimistic. It sounds polite. It sounds completely wrong. This story isn't about Malaysia racing forward. It's about Japan quietly sliding backward while pretending nothing is happening. Humans love linear stories. Someone rises, someone chases, someone wins. It makes charts look neat and commentators feel useful. Reality doesn't care about your charts. Japan is not being overtaken. Japan is being outpaced by time. For decades, Japan sold the world an image of permanence. Stable jobs, predictable lives, endless middle-class comfort. The idea that once you reached a certain level, you stayed there forever. That promise is now broken, not dramatically, not with riots or sirens, but with something far more dangerous: normalization. Lower wages become realistic expectations. Smaller apartments become minimalist living. Working into your 70s becomes active aging. Nothing collapses overnight. It just quietly gets worse until people stop remembering it was ever better. Meanwhile, Malaysia isn't sprinting. It isn't panicking. It isn't clinging to a frozen past. It's doing something far more effective. It's adjusting. Wages aren't spectacular, but they move. Cities aren't perfect, but they expand. Young people don't assume life peaked before they were born. That difference matters. When one country is stuck protecting yesterday's standards and another is building tomorrow's tolerances, the gap doesn't close. It flips direction. Japan's problem is not that it's poorer than Malaysia. Japan's problem is that it costs more to live worse. And that contradiction is the crack this entire story falls through. This video isn't about admiration or insult. It's about trajectory. And Japan's trajectory is pointing somewhere it refuses to look at. The fastest way to understand decline is not GDP. It's rent. It's food. It's what people quietly stop buying. In Japan, prices didn't explode. They crept. Slowly enough that no one staged a revolution, fast enough that lives started shrinking. A smaller apartment in Tokyo now costs more than a decent home did a generation ago. Utilities rise. Transport rises. Taxes never forget you exist. Wages, meanwhile, developed a deep spiritual attachment to the year 1998. So people adapt, not by living better, but by expecting less. They stop eating out. They stop traveling. They stop imagining a future that looks different from their parents' exhaustion. This is not austerity. This is resignation with good manners. Now compare that to Malaysia. Living costs rise there too. No fantasy worlds here. But there's a crucial difference. When costs rise, people still believe income can rise with them. In Kuala Lumpur, young professionals argue about careers, not survival. Housing is a negotiation, not a surrender. Mobility still exists, both economic and literal. That belief changes behavior. People invest. People move. People take risks without assuming the system will punish them for trying. Japan's real crisis isn't affordability. It's the psychological tax of knowing effort no longer guarantees progress. When a society charges premium prices for declining quality of life, people don't revolt. They withdraw. And withdrawal is how countries decay quietly. Malaysia isn't catching up here. Japan is pricing itself out of dignity. And once the population internalizes that, no stimulus package fixes it. Every aging country claims it has a youth problem. That's a polite lie. The real problem is what young people are expected to accept as normal. In Japan, youth isn't a phase of exploration anymore. It's a holding pattern. Education leads to credential inflation. Work leads to stagnation. Loyalty leads to being underpaid with a smile. Young workers are told to be patient, then they're told to be realistic, then they're told nothing at all. By the time they realize the ladder doesn't move, they're already exhausted. This is how ambition dies without protest. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, young people complain too. Loudly. Constantly. That's not a flaw. That's evidence of expectation. They expect movement. They expect options. They expect that effort should at least open doors. In Kuala Lumpur, job hopping is not betrayal, it's strategy. Side businesses aren't shameful. They're survival skills being sharpened early. That mindset compounds. Japan's youth, by contrast, are trained to minimize themselves. Don't stand out. Don't ask too much. Don't leave too early. Don't fail publicly. So they don't start companies. They don't relocate. They don't challenge structures designed for a population that no longer exists. This isn't cultural elegance. It's systemic sedation. When young people stop believing they can outrun the past, the country starts aging at double speed. Malaysia doesn't look young because it's richer. It looks young because it still argues with the future instead of apologizing to the past. Japan chose calm over momentum, and now it's paying interest on that choice. Japan's favorite defense is one word: stability. Stable currency, stable society, stable systems. Stability sounds responsible. It sounds adult. It sounds like something you say right before refusing to change anything. In Japan, stability became a substitute for resilience. Systems were preserved not because they worked, but because replacing them would be embarrassing. Lifetime employment didn't evolve. It fossilized. Seniority didn't guide. It blocked. Risk didn't disappear. It was outsourced to individuals least able to bear it. The result is a society that looks calm from the outside and brittle underneath. When inflation arrives, wages don't respond. When industries fade, retraining lags behind reality. When demographics collapse, the answer is longer working hours and polite denial. This is not stability. This is inertia with good PR. Now look at Malaysia. Nothing there pretends to be permanent. Policies shift, industries rotate, people expect volatility and plan around it. That doesn't make life easier, it makes it adaptable. In Kuala Lumpur, careers bend, families adjust. Migration is a tool, not a taboo. Japan treats change as a failure of planning. Malaysia treats change as a condition of survival. One country ensures yesterday, the other hedges tomorrow. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A system that refuses to bend does not stay strong. It snaps late, and all at once. Japan isn't falling behind because it's chaotic. It's falling behind because it tried to freeze itself in a world that doesn't stop moving. When decline becomes visible, people imagine chaos. What actually happens is disappearance. In Japan, people don't rebel against the system. They quietly step out of it. They stop marrying. They stop having children. They stop planning decades ahead. Not because they're lazy or selfish, but because the future stopped offering a return. This is what policymakers never say out loud. A shrinking population is not just a demographic issue. It's a vote of no confidence. People are opting out of continuity, and once that starts, no amount of slogans about tradition or national pride brings it back. Now contrast that with Malaysia. People still leave, they still migrate, but they leave with intention, not resignation. They expect to return richer, smarter, or at least changed. In Kuala Lumpur, family formation still feels possible. Delayed, yes. Negotiated, yes. But not absurd. That distinction matters more than income statistics. Japan's exit is internal. Malaysia's exit is strategic. One country drains itself slowly from the inside. The other exports labor and re-imports experience. When a society loses the will to reproduce itself, it isn't collapsing. It's concluding. Japan is not being overtaken. It is being left behind by its own people. History teaches people to watch for collapse. Fires, protests, empty shelves. That's comforting because it means decline is obvious. In Japan, none of that happens. Trains still run on time. Convenience stores stay bright at midnight. Streets remain clean, quiet, and orderly. And yet, something essential is missing. Momentum. A society can function perfectly and still be going nowhere. Japan didn't fail. It stabilized itself into irrelevance. What it offers now is not opportunity, but predictability at a discount rate that keeps shrinking. Life becomes manageable, then narrow, then small. This is why the comparison with Malaysia keeps misleading people. Malaysia looks chaotic because it's moving. Japan looks advanced because it's familiar. But familiarity is not leadership. In Kuala Lumpur, the future is argued over. Loudly, messily. In Japan, it's quietly postponed. And here's the line people don't like hearing. Countries don't fall behind when others catch up. They fall behind when they stop renegotiating their own reality. Malaysia isn't winning a race. Japan just stopped running. Not out of exhaustion, out of habit. And habits, once institutionalized, are harder to break than poverty. That is the real story. Not ascent, not decline, drift. And drift, in a competitive world, is just failure wearing a calm expression,